The wind howled like a banshee through the jagged peaks of Aspen, Colorado, ripping Benjamin's snowboard from his grip and sending it cartwheeling into the abyss below. He clawed at the icy railing of the ski lift, his heart slamming against his ribs as the chair swung wildly, 30 feet above a chasm that swallowed Scream's whole. "Fuck. Not like this," he gasped, the cold biting into his lungs like shattered glass. Alone, forgotten, and utterly, terrifyingly suspended between life and the void. Benjamin Harper had always chased the rush, the kind that came from carving black diamond runs at breakneck speed, the board slicing through powder like a knife through silk. At 28, he was a freelance photographer by trade, but snowboarding was his religion, his confessor, the one place where the noise in his head went silent. Back in Denver, his life was a carefully curated mess. A string of one-night stands that left him emptier than before, a family that pretended his phase would pass if they just prayed harder, and an ex-boyfriend whose parting words still echoed like a bad hangover. "You're too much, Ben. Too wild. I can't keep up." That was 6 months ago, and he'd fled to the slopes of Aspen for Thanksgiving break, telling himself it was for the fresh air, not the escape. The day had started perfect. Bluebird skies, feet of untracked snow from last night's dump, and the resort buzzing with out-of-towners oblivious to the world's sharper edges. Benjamin had hit the lifts early, his Nikon slung over his shoulder for those golden hour shots that paid the bills. He was mid-run on the expert terrain park when it happened, a rogue gust, a momentary lapse in focus, and suddenly he was off-piste, veering into a restricted glade marked by faded orange netting. "Just a shortcut," he muttered, adrenaline spiking as he dodged birches heavy with snow. But the trail narrowed, the snow deepened, and before he knew it, the lift line he'd aimed for was a distant smudge on the horizon. By the time he reached the base, the sun was dipping low, painting the Rockies in bruised purples and golds. The chairlift operator, a grizzled vet named Hank with a beard like steel wool, eyed him suspiciously. "You take the black route? That's for pros, kid." Lifts close at 4. Benjamin flashed his most charming grin, the one that had gotten him out of bar tabs and bad dates alike. "Ah, come on, Hank. One more run? I'll buy you a beer at the base lodge." Hank grumbled but waved him on, the last chair of the day creaking up the cable with Benjamin strapped in, the world falling away beneath him. That's when the storm whispered its arrival. Flakes started as lazy dancers, then thickened into a whiteout frenzy. The lift groaned to a halt midway up, chairs swaying like pendulums in the gale. Benjamin's stomach dropped. "Hey, what's the holdup?" he yelled into the void, but the wind devoured his words. His phone? Dead. Battery drained from blasting playlists to drown out the loneliness. No signal anyway up here. He twisted in his seat, scanning the chairs ahead, empty, all of them. Behind him, nothing but swirling snow. Alone. The realization hit harder than any wipeout. Panic clawed up his throat. He was no stranger to close calls, avalanche drills, crevasse falls in heli-skiing gigs, but this was different. This was isolation distilled to its purest form, a man-made perch in God's frozen fury, with night crashing down like a verdict. Memories flooded in unbidden. His father's stern face at the dinner table last Christmas. "You'll burn in hell for this, son, unless you choose right." The way his mother's eyes had darted away, silent as fresh powder. And Alex, God, Alex, laughing in that Brooklyn loft, tangled in sheets that smelled of weed and regret, only to ghost him for some Wall Street suit the next week. Betrayal tasted like copper on Benjamin's tongue, sharper than the altitude. He yanked at his gloves, fingers numb, and rummaged for the emergency flare in his pack. Nothing. Of course. He'd left it in the rental car, too cocky, too invincible. The temperature plummeted, the wind chill turning his breath to ice crystals that stung his cheeks. "Come on, Ben. Think," he whispered, forcing deep breaths, visualizing the run, drop, carve, ollie. But visualization failed when your playground was a metal cage swinging over eternity. Hours blurred, or was it minutes? Time lost shape in the blizzard. His mind wandered to darker places, the what-ifs of a body tumbling into the ravine. Headlines in the Aspen Times: "Thrill Seeker Meets Tragic End." Would anyone care? His sister Mia might. Wiring flowers from Seattle. But his folks? A quiet relief. Maybe. And Samuel. Wait, who the hell was Samuel? A ghost name from a half-remembered dream? Or just delirium setting in? The lift lurched. Benjamin jolted, gripping the bar until his knuckles ached. Below, through the veil of snow, a figure emerged, staggering, spectral, like something out of a ghost story. No, not a ghost. A man. Tall, broad-shouldered, bundled in a parka that billowed like wings. He waved frantically, his voice cutting through the storm. "Hey, up there, you stuck too." Relief hit Benjamin like a powder blast, warm and disorienting. "Yeah, what the, how'd you get down there?" The man cupped his hands, shouting back. "Wrong turn on the cat track. Hiked up to signal. Thought I was the last idiot out here." He laughed, a rich, rolling sound that defied the cold. Then, impossibly, the lift jerked again, cables humming to life. Chairs inched forward, but Benjamin stayed put, jammed or forgotten. The stranger below, Samuel, he'd yell later, pointed uphill. "There's a maintenance shed half a mile east. I'll get help." "Wait," Benjamin called, but the wind stole it. Samuel vanished into the white, promise-swallowed hole. Benjamin slumped, the adrenaline crash leaving him hollow. But for the first time that night, he wasn't alone in his thoughts. Someone knew he was here. Someone cared enough to brave the storm. As darkness fully claimed the mountain, Benjamin's eyelids grew heavy, the cold a siren's lullaby. He dreamed of warmer places, sun-baked California beaches, not this icy purgatory. In the dream, a hand touched his strong, calloused, pulling him from the edge. "I've got you," the voice murmured, and it sounded like salvation. He woke to the grind of machinery, the lift shuddering back to motion. Dawn? No. Still night. But lights pierced the snow, headlamps, voices barking orders. Rescue. His chair docked at the summit station, and hands hauled him out, wrapping him in blankets that smelled of pine and diesel. "Lucky bastard," one rescuer muttered. "Another 10 minutes. Hypothermia would have had you." Benjamin nodded numbly, teeth chattering, as they loaded him into a snowcat. But his eyes scanned the crew. The guy, the one who signaled, the driver, a woman with a no-nonsense ponytail, glanced back. "Samuel? Yeah. He's the lift mechanic on night shift. Saved your ass. Said you looked like you needed a hero. Samuel." The name stuck like burrs on wool. As the cat rumbled down the mountain, Benjamin felt the first thaw in his chest. Not from the blankets, but from the spark of something reckless, something real. Little did he know, Samuel Kane was no hero. He was a storm of his own, with secrets buried deeper than the snowdrifts, and their collision was just beginning. In the base lodge, steam rose from mugs of spiked cocoa as Benjamin thawed by the fire. His fingers, pruny and raw, clutched the ceramic like a lifeline. The place was a ghost town now. Holiday crowds fled to après-ski bars in town, leaving only the hum of fluorescent lights and the crackle of embers. Mia had texted voicemail, actually, since his phone was charging like a comatose patient. Ben, where are you? Mom's freaking. Call me. He would. Later. For now, survival tasted too sweet. Footsteps crunched on the salt-strewn floor. Benjamin looked up, and there he was, Samuel, shrugging off his parka, snow melting in dark curls that framed a face carved from the mountains themselves. Hazel eyes, sharp as lodgepole pine, met his with a mix of concern and that laugh line's crinkle. Mid-30s, maybe, with a jaw that could cut glass and shoulders that filled out his flannel like it was made for him. You the guy from the lift? Samuel asked, voice gravelly from shouting into the wind. Benjamin managed a grin, though his lips cracked. Guilty. Thanks for the save. Owe you that beer, and then some. Samuel slid into the booth opposite, signaling the lone bartender for 2 more mugs. Call it even. I've been stuck up there plenty. Name's Samuel Kane. Sam to most, but you look like a Ben kinda night. Benjamin Harper. Ben works. Their hands met over the table, firm shake, lingering a beat too long. Electricity, or just static from the dry air. Benjamin couldn't tell, but his pulse kicked up, chasing away the chill. They talked as the fire died to coals. Samuel was local, born and bred in the shadow of Ajax Peak, a mechanic who'd traded college dreams for wrenches and rotors. Family gig, he said, sipping his drink. Dad ran the lifts before the resort bought him out. Now it's corporate bullshit, but the mountain, that's home. His eyes softened when he spoke of it, like the snow was woven into his veins. Benjamin shared scraps. The photography hustle, the city itch that Denver scratched but never satisfied. He skirted the raw edges, the coming-out wars, the ex who shattered him, but Samuel listened like he knew the terrain, nodding at the right silences. Sounds like you're running from something, Samuel said finally. Not accusatory, just matter of fact. Aren't we all? Benjamin quipped, but the words hung heavy. Outside, the storm raged on, windows rattling like applause for their confession. By midnight, the lodge was theirs alone. Samuel stood, offering a hand. Crash at my place? Cabin down the road. Beats stumbling back to your rental in this. Benjamin hesitated, old habits, the fear of morning after ghosts, but the pull was magnetic. Lead the way. The drive was a white-knuckle blur. Samuel's truck fishtailing on unplowed roads, radio crackling with weather warnings. The cabin huddled in a clearing, logs weathered silver, chimney puffing defiance at the gale. Inside, it was all flannel throws and cast-iron warmth, a wood stove roaring like a heartbeat. Samuel tossed him dry sweats, his sweats, soft from wear, and they collapsed on the couch. Cocoa swapped for whiskey that burned sweet. Stories flowed freer now. Samuel's wild youth, sneaking beers with ski bums, Benjamin's first crush, a lifeguard in high school who vanished like summer. Laughter bridged the gaps. but under it simmered tension, the air thick with unspoken wants. It was Benjamin who broke first, leaning in during a lull, lips brushing Samuel's in a question. Samuel answered with hunger, hands framing Benjamin's face, pulling him close. The kiss was fire to frost, desperate, alive, tasting of pine and possibility. Clothes shed in a tangle, bodies mapping each other by firelight, every touch a reclamation. Samuel's whispers, "You're safe here, Ben," unraveled knots Benjamin didn't know he carried. Dawn crept in gray and grudging, finding them entwined under quilts heavy as secrets. Benjamin stirred first, watching Samuel sleep, chest rising steady, a tattoo of a compass peeking from his collarbone, north always pointing home. For the first time in years, Benjamin didn't bolt. He stayed, tracing the lines of a man who felt like the mountain, solid, unyielding, but laced with hidden crevasses. But as the coffee perked and sunlight pierced the clouds, a photo on the mantel caught Benjamin's eye, a faded snapshot of Samuel, arm around a woman with laughing eyes, a ring glinting on her finger. The thaw in his chest iced over. Who was she, and what the hell had he just stumbled into? The cabin smelled of bacon grease and fresh coffee, the kind that could resurrect the dead. Samuel moved around the kitchen like he owned every inch of it, which he did, flipping strips in a cast-iron skillet, humming an old Johnny Cash tune under his breath. Benjamin sat at the scarred oak table, wrapped in one of Samuel's hoodies that swallowed him whole, the fabric carrying faint traces of cedar and motor oil. It was domestic, dangerously so, and Benjamin's mind raced to catch up with his body, still humming from the night's explorations. "Mornin'. Handsome," Samuel said, sliding a plate over eggs scrambled fluffy, toast buttered thick. His smile was easy, unguarded, but those hazel eyes held a flicker of something Benjamin couldn't place. Apprehension, or just the post-storm jitters? "Morning." Benjamin forked into the food, hunger hitting like a freight train. They ate in companionable quiet at first, the only sounds the sizzle of fat and the distant drip of melting icicles. Outside, the world was remaking itself. Snowdrifts sculpted into fantastical shapes, pines bowing under their white burdens like penitents. So, Samuel ventured, leaning back with his mug steaming. "You sticking around Aspen? Or was last night a one-run wonder?" Benjamin chewed slowly, buying time. The photo gnawed at him, a splinter under skin. "Depends. Got a week off. Figured I'd shoot some backcountry stuff, maybe hit the hot springs in Glenwood." "You, always here." "Shifts start at noon. Gotta tune the gondolas before the weekend rush." Samuel's grin turned wry. "Perks of the job, free passes. But the hours? Soul-sucking." Benjamin nodded, the normalcy a bomb. They talked shop then. Samuel's love for restoring vintage snowmobiles, Benjamin's gig chasing auroras in Alaska last winter. Laughter bubbled up again, easy as the creek behind the cabin. And for a stolen hour, the world shrank to this: two men, breakfast, and the promise of more. But as Samuel cleared plates, Benjamin's gaze drifted back to the mantel. The woman in the photo, mid-20s, sun-kissed freckles, her head on Samuel's shoulder, laughed frozen in time, a wedding band catching the light. "Who's that?" The words slipped out casual, but his voice cracked the air like thin ice. Samuel froze mid-stride, sponge in hand. The color drained from his face, not dramatically, but like snow sliding off a roof, silent, inevitable. That's Ellie. My sister. He set the sponge down, turning fully, arms crossing like a shield. Why? Relief flooded Benjamin, hot and humiliating. Shit. Sorry. Just saw the ring. Thought. He trailed off, heat crawling up his neck. Idiot. Paranoid from too many ghostings. Samuel's laugh was short, sharp. Nah, man. Ellie got hitched last summer. Big to-do in Vale. She's in Boulder now, teaching kindergarten. He stepped closer, hand brushing Benjamin's shoulder, thumb tracing a lazy circle. Jealous already? We barely know each other. Benjamin caught his wrist, holding it there, the warmth seeping through. Maybe I like what I know. Their eyes locked, and the kitchen shrank, the air charging like before a squall. Samuel's free hand cupped his jaw, tilting for a kiss. Slow this time, exploratory, tongues mapping territories claimed in haste the night before. They might have tumbled back to bed then, but Samuel's radio crackled to life on the counter. Kane, you up? Boss wants you early. Ice buildup on the mid-station. Duty called, pulling Samuel away with a groaned promise. Tonight. Pick you up at 7. There's a dive bar in town with killer wings and no tourists. Benjamin watched him go, truck kicking up snow as it vanished down the rutted drive. Alone, the cabin felt vast, echoes amplifying doubts. He texted Mia, alive. Met a guy. Don't freak. Her reply pinged instant. Details or I'm calling search and rescue. Love you, weirdo. The day unfolded in golden light, the storm's fury a memory. Benjamin retrieved his rental board from Lost and Found, miraculously unbroken, and hit gentler runs, camera clicking away, skiers arcing like arrows, kids tumbling in powder clouds. But his lens kept seeking Samuel, the mechanics in orange vests, the broad backs bent over tools. By afternoon, he'd wandered the base, nursing a flat white, when his phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Miss me yet? Grinning like a fool, he replied, like a hole in my board. Wings sound good. Samuel's response, better than good. Got a story you'll like. Evening came wrapped in alpenglow, pinks and oranges bleeding across the sky. Benjamin dressed sharp, jeans that hugged, a Henley unbuttoned just so, and waited outside his condo, nerves jangling like lift cables. Samuel arrived in a battered Ford, windows fogged, country rock thumping low. Hop in, cowboy. The red antler was pure Colorado kitsch. Neon signs buzzing, howdy partner. Walls papered in vintage ski posters. A jukebox crooning Willie Nelson. They claimed a corner booth. Wings arriving in greasy glory. Beers sweating condensation. Conversation flowed like the roaring Fork River. Samuel recounting a roided-out tourist who'd snapped his binding midair. Benjamin one-upping with a heli crash in the Tetons that left him hitchhiking home. Under the table, knees brushed, intentional now, sparks igniting. Samuel's hand found Benjamin's thigh, squeezing once, twice. Your trouble, Harper, he murmured, voice low over the din. The good kind, takes one to know one. Benjamin's pulse thrummed, the bar fading to blur. They lingered till last call, the walk to the truck a haze of stolen kisses against the tailgate, cold metal biting skin. Back at the cabin, barriers crumbled. This time, it was tender, Samuel tracing scars on Benjamin's ribs from a long-ago wipeout, Benjamin nuzzling the compass tattoo. learning its story, inked after a lost season, a reminder to find true north. They moved together like they'd rehearsed, bodies sinking in the fire's glow, whispers weaving promises neither dared voice yet. Sleep came deep, dreamless, but morning brought the first fracture. Benjamin woke to Samuel on the phone, voice hushed in the kitchen. "Yeah, I know. It's complicated. But he's different." Pause. "No, not like that. Just give me time." The call ended abrupt. Samuel appearing in the doorway, expression schooled neutral. "Everything okay?" Benjamin asked, propping on elbows, sheets pooling at his waist. Samuel nodded too quick. "Work stuff. Boss riding my ass about overtime." But his eyes skated away, landing on the window where snow started falling again. Fat flakes like warnings. They brushed it off, diving into the day, Samuel calling out sick for a half day, them hitting unmarked bowls off buttermilk, whooping as powder exploded around them. Lunch at a food truck. Elk burgers with green chili, eaten cross-legged on a tailgate, shoulders touching. Felt like falling upward, gravity inverted. But the call lingered, a shadow. That night, over takeout pho from the one spot in town that did it right, Benjamin pushed. "You can talk to me, you know, about whatever." Samuel's fork paused, steam curling between them. "It's nothing. Old baggage." He set it down, reaching across. "This you and me, it's new. Good new. Let's not jinx it." Benjamin wanted to believe him, leaned into the kiss that followed, but doubt seeded, small and insidious as a crack in ice. The week blurred into a montage. Dawn patrols on untouched runs, nights tangled in flannel, Samuel's cabin becoming Benjamin's North Star. They shared playlists, Benjamin's indie folk against Samuel's outlaw country, and secrets and drips. Samuel's fear of enclosed spaces from a childhood lift malfunction. Benjamin's ache for a family that saw him whole. Sex evolved from fire to hearth, intimate in ways that scared Benjamin shitless. "What if this is it?" he murmured once. Post-climax, head on Samuel's chest. "What if I don't want to leave?" Samuel's fingers stilled in his hair. "Then don't." But his voice held an echo, hollow as a wind-scoured slope. On the 6th day, betrayal arrived not with thunder, but a quiet knock. Benjamin answered the cabin door mid-afternoon, Samuel out on a parts run. A woman stood there, 30s, sharp bob, coat dusted white. Not Ellie. This one had steel in her eyes, a manila folder clutched like a weapon. "Benjamin Harper?" Her tone was clipped, East Coast polish. "Yeah." "Who?" "I'm Detective Lara Voss, Aspen PD. Mind if I come in? It's about Samuel Kane." The room tilted. Benjamin stepped aside, heart hammering. She sat ramrod, folder unopened. "You're involved with him?" Yeah. "Dating." "Why?" Voss's gaze softened a fraction. "Pity? Maybe." "Mr. Kane has a record. Assault, 5 years back. Bar fight gone wrong. He did time 18 months. Paroled early for good behavior, but there's complications. His ex claims harassment. We got a tip you're in deep." Benjamin's mouth went dry. "He never said. People don't." She slid the folder over. Photos spilled out. Bruises on a man's face. Court docs stamped guilty. "He's got a temper, Ben." and a pattern. Love bombs, then controls. We're watching. For your sake. She left with a card. Call if anything feels off. And Benjamin sat amid the wreckage. Photos like shrapnel. Samuel. Is Samuel a convict? The compass tattoo mocked him now, a liar's guide. Rage boiled, then curdled to grief. How much was real? The rescues, the whispers, the way Samuel looked at him like he was the only peak worth climbing? When Samuel returned, arms full of groceries, Benjamin was packed, duffel by the door. What the hell is this? Samuel's face crumpled, groceries thudding to the floor. You tell me. Benjamin flung a photo at his feet, the bruised face, accusatory. Assault? Prison? Who are you? Sam. Samuel's color bled away. He sank to a chair, head in hands. Ben. Listen. No. You lied. From the jump. Tears stung, hot and traitorous. I thought this was real. It is. God. It is. Samuel lunged, grabbing his arm. That fight? He came at me first. My ex. Yeah. Caught me with a guy. Lost it. I defended. Court saw it different. I've changed. Ben. Swear it. Benjamin wrenched free. And the calls? The complications? Samuel deflated. He's back in town. Stirring shit. But you, that's not baggage. That's home. The plea hung. Bro. Benjamin wanted to believe, to fold into those arms and pretend. But trust, once cracked, spiderwebbed. I need space. Time. Samuel nodded. Broken. Cabin's yours tonight. I'll crash at the shop. Benjamin fled to the slopes, boarding till dusk, carving rage into snow. Night found him at the Red Antler, whiskey burning answers. Mia called. Ben? Talk to me. He did, spilling it all, the lift, the love, the lie. What do I do? Her voice, steady as Seattle rain. Feel it. Then decide. You're worth truth. Bro. Back at the cabin. A note on the table. I'm sorry. Fight for us? Benjamin crumpled it, then smoothed it flat. Dawn broke clear, and with it, a resolve. He wouldn't run. Not this time. But as he boarded the truck for one last ride, his phone lit. Voss. Kane's ex just filed a restraining order. Watch your back. The mountain loomed, beautiful and treacherous. Love, seemed, was the blackest diamond of all. The restraining order hit like an undercut wave, sucking the air from Benjamin's lungs as he gripped the truck's wheel, knuckles white against the leather. Voss's voice echoed from the voicemail. It's precautionary, Mr. Harper. Kane's ex. Derek claims threats. No proof yet, but stay clear. Call if you see him. The road to Aspen twisted like Samuel's story. Hairpin turns mirroring the knots in his gut. He hadn't seen Samuel since the blowout 2 nights ago. But the cabin, their cabin, pulled like gravity, a tether he couldn't snap. He detoured to the condo instead, dumping his bag and pacing the sterile space. Beige walls, mini fridge humming judgment. His camera sat untouched, lens cap mocking his paralysis. Shoot something, anything. But inspiration fled, replaced by replays. Samuel's laugh in the blizzard, hands steady on the wrench, body arching under his in firelight. Liar or not, the man had cracked him open, exposed veins he'd armored over. A knock shattered the loop. Benjamin froze. "Mia? Takeout ferry?" He cracked the door, chain rattling, and there stood Samuel, duffel slung over one shoulder, eyes hollowed like he'd aged a decade. "Ben. Please." 5 minutes. Against every screaming instinct, Benjamin unlatched. Samuel stepped in, scent of pine and regret filling the room. He dropped the bag, hands raised like surrender. "I'm not here to fight. Just explain. You had chances." Benjamin crossed arms, leaning against the counter, heart a war drum. "Why now?" "Because I can't lose this." "You." Samuel's voice broke, raw as stripped bark. He pulled a chair, sitting heavy, like the weight of unspoken years pinned him. "Derek and I, it was toxic from the start. Aspen winters, young and dumb. He drank. I worked doubles. One night, he corners me at the bar, screaming about cheating with a coworker. Punches fly. I hit back harder. Cops come. He plays victim. Judge buys it." Benjamin sank onto the bed opposite, listening despite himself. 18 months. Paroled after 12. Therapy, community service, the works. I swore off men, off everything. Till you. Stuck up there, waving like a damn signal fire. You lit something, then. Made me want more than hiding. The words landed soft, but the photos Voss showed burned brighter. "And the harassment?" He's saying you threatened him. "Bullshit." Samuel's jaw tightened, but his eyes stayed steady. "He's fishing for a payout, sue the resort, claim emotional distress. I haven't spoken to him in years. Swear on the mountain." Benjamin searched his face, hunting cracks. Found none. Only vulnerability that mirrored his own. "Why not tell me? From the start?" "Fear." Samuel leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Of this, you looking at me like I'm trash. Or worse, pity." "Pity? No." What Benjamin felt was a storm. Fury at the secrets, ache for the man who'd braved blizzards for him. "I don't pity you. But trust? That's shattered. Sam." "Rebuild slow." Samuel nodded, standing slow. "Then let me start. Date 1, coffee, no strings. Or 0, your call." The offer hung, fragile as hoarfrost. Benjamin's throat tightened. "Coffee. Tomorrow." Neutral ground. Relief cracked Samuel's facade, a small smile blooming. "Logos. 10 a.m. I'll bring the scones." He left with a ghost of a touch, fingertips to Benjamin's cheek, and the door clicked soft, leaving silence thick as fog. Benjamin exhaled, sliding down the wall, head in hands. What was he doing? Chasing a felon with baggage heavier than his board? But the alternative, empty runs, hollow nights, tasted like defeat. Sleep evaded, dreams fracturing into whiteouts where Samuel fell, hand outstretched. Dawn found him wired on black coffee, camera in tow like armor. Logos Coffee was a hipster haven. Exposed brick, pour-over steaming, indie folk strumming from speakers. Samuel waited at a corner table, 2 lattes and pastries arrayed like peace offerings. No parka today, just Henley and jeans, sleeves rolled to show forearms corded from labor. They talked tentative. Weather, clear skies. Ironic. Runs, Samuel scouting a new line off Highlands. No exes, no cops, just the mundane. building bricks for a wall between them and the past. Benjamin snapped candids, Samuel mid-bite, crumbs on lip, froth art swirling in foam, and laughter crept back, shy at first, then full-throated. By noon, they wandered Snowmass Village, boots crunching packed paths, window shopping gear shops and galleries. Samuel's hand brushed his accidental, then stayed, fingers lacing natural as breathing. "This okay?" he murmured, breath warm on Benjamin's ear. "Yeah, more than okay." Felt like thawing, layers peeling to reveal skin alive to touch. The idol shattered that evening. Benjamin's phone buzzed mid-dinner at a fondue spot, Voss again. "Kane's ex sighted near your condo. Locked doors. Patrol en route." Heart slamming, he scanned the cozy room. Families laughing, couples clinking glasses. Samuel, across the table, oblivious, dipping bread with that boyish grin. "Ben, you good?" Samuel's brow furrowed. Bathroom break, stall door locked. Benjamin texted Voss, "With Kane now. Safe spot, reply stay put." Derek's unhinged. History of stalking. Unhinged. The word chilled deeper than the fondue's steam. Back at table, Benjamin forced smiles, but tension coiled. "Everything all right? Just work call." Lai sat bitter. They finished quick, Samuel's truck idling outside as Benjamin scanned shadows. No Derek, but paranoia prickled. A drop-off. Samuel leaned in for a goodnight kiss. Chaste, promising. "Tomorrow? Hot Springs. Love to." Benjamin watched taillights fade, then bolted inside, deadbolting every lock. Sleep, armed with pepper spray from his pack. He dozed fitful, waking to every creak. Morning brought sun and a text from Samuel. "Pick you at 8? Pack trunks." Benjamin replied affirmative, but first a call to Mia. "It's escalating." Derek's circling, her gasp echoed. "Get out, Ben." "Fly home. Can't." "Not yet." He explained the coffee, the tentative rebuild. "He's worth the risk. I think." "Think? Jesus. Be smart." Hot springs were bliss incarnate. Steaming pools carved into granite, steam veiling the peaks like secrets. They soaked side by side, shoulders brushing, conversation dipping to deeper currents. Samuel opened more prison tales, the isolation that mirrored this very mountain. How parole meant weekly check-ins. A life on probation. "Feels like I'm always one slip from the edge." Benjamin turned, water lapping. "Not with me." We climbed together. Samuel's eyes glistened. Tears or steam? He pulled Benjamin close. Kissed salt and mineral, bodies aligning underwater in a dance of forgiveness. But paradise fractured mid-soak. A splash from the trailhead, footsteps crunching gravel. Samuel tensed first, head snapping up. "You hear that?" "Yeah." They rose dripping, towels clutched like shields. From the treeline, a figure emerged. Lanky, 30s, face shadowed by a beanie. Derek. "Sam." The name cracked like a whip. "We need to talk." Samuel stepped forward, body blocking Benjamin's. "Not now. Not ever. Go home." "Derek." Derek's laugh was jagged. "Home? With your boy toy? Classy." His gaze raked Benjamin. Venomous. "He know about the beatings? The nights you locked me out?" "Lies." Samuel's voice was steel, but his fists clenched. Benjamin's stomach roiled, Truth or poison? Back off. Man. Derek advanced, eyes wild. Or what? You'll sick your cop buddies? I know about the order. It's bullshit. You started this. Security materialized, resort guards. Whistles shrill, hauling Derek away as he spat curses. This ain't over. Kane, you'll pay. In the aftermath, Samuel crumpled, towel slipping as he sank to the rocks. Ben. Save it. Benjamin dressed furious. Betrayal's echo ringing. Not Samuel's, but the web he'd woven them into. Take me back. The drive was silent slaughter, tension thick as the steam they'd left. At the condo, Benjamin bailed without a word, door slamming final. Alone, he spiraled. Calls to Voss, Derek detained. No charges. Text to Mia, packing tomorrow. But as night fell, a knock, Samuel, soaked from a sudden squall, eyes pleading. Don't end us. Please. Benjamin hauled him in, fury melting to ache. How do I trust this? Him? You? Samuel knelt, vulnerable. By staying. Let me prove it. They collided then, desperate, devouring, sex a battlefield of need and negation. Afterward, curled raw, Samuel whispered plans, therapy doubles, Derek's eviction from Aspen via lawyers. I love you, Ben. Terrifying as shit, but true, love. The word detonated, real as the storm outside. Benjamin clung, whispering back, me too, but dawn brought Derek's parting gift. An anonymous email, attachments spilling, texts from Samuel, post-prison, laced with rage, stay away or else. Proof? Or manipulation? Benjamin stared at the screen, heart fracturing anew. Love was a lift in whiteout, beautiful, blinding, and one wrong turn from freefall. The email burned in Benjamin's inbox like a flare in the dark. Timestamped 2:17 a.m., hours after Derek's lakeside meltdown. He sat at the condo's desk, laptop glow casting his face in blues and grays. Samuel snores a distant rumble from the bedroom. The attachments were screenshots, grainy texts, Samuel's number bolded. You think you can ruin me and walk? Watch your back. Dated 2 years ago. Post-parole. Benjamin's thumb hovered over forward to Voss. Nausea rising. Proof of the threats. The pattern. Or Derek's Photoshop revenge. He scrolled deeper. More messages. Escalating. I'll make sure everyone knows what you are. Then, a voice memo. Samuel's voice. Clipped and cold. Leave me alone, Derek. Or I swear. The audio cut, but the implication hung, heavy as chains. Ben. Samuel's voice from the hall, sleepy thick. He padded in shirtless, sweatpants low, concern etching lines around his eyes. Can't sleep. Benjamin snapped the laptop shut, pulse thunderous. Go back to bed. I'm fine. Samuel paused, sensing the chill. Talk to me. The dam cracked. Benjamin shoved the laptop open, speakers tinny with the memo. Samuel's face drained to ash as his own words echoed back. Where'd you? Derek. Sent it last night. Anonymous my ass. Benjamin stood, chair scraping. Threats. Sam? Real ones. Samuel sank to the bed's edge, head bowed. Context. He was stalking me, showing up at work, the cabin. Those texts, desperation. I never acted. Never would. But you said them. Benjamin paced. Room shrinking. And now he's here, gunning for us because of you, not because of me. Because he's broken. Samuel reached, but Benjamin dodged. Ben, please. I went to his PO, filed reports. It's documented. Show me. Demand edged hysteria. Samuel nodded, grabbing his phone, scrolling to emails, CC'd to Voss's predecessor, timestamps lining up. Restraining order requests denied for lack of evidence. But the paper trail existed. Samuel the victim, Derek the ghost refusing to fade. Benjamin scanned, doubt eroding like scree. Why not tell me sooner? Because every time I open my mouth, I lose ground. Samuel's voice cracked. Prison taught me silence. But you make me want words. The fight ebbed, leaving exhaustion. Benjamin deflated beside him, head on Samuel's shoulder. I'm scared, Sam. Of him. Of this blowing up. Me too. Samuel's arm encircled. Solid. But together, we weather it. Morning came fragile. Them waking to brewed coffee and a plan. Confront Voss together. Lay cards bare. The station was a squat brick bunker off Main. Fluorescent harsh on Samuel's pallor as he recounted, calm, chronological, the Derek saga. Voss listened, pen scratching, her nod grudging approval. This changes things. We'll pull Derek in for questioning. Stay vigilant. Both of you. Outside. Air crisp with promise. Samuel pulled Benjamin into an alley kiss. Fierce. Affirming. See? Truth wins. Benjamin clung, tasting victory. Yeah. It does. The day rebuilt them. A lazy run on Aspen Mountain, carving synchronized turns. Lunch at French Alpine, croque monsieur's oozing brie. Laughter returned, lighter now, forged in fire. That night, cabin-bound, they cooked, Samuel's chili, spicy as their arguments, eaten by candlelight. To us, Samuel toasted, glasses clinking. Messy, but ours. Sex followed, slow and sacred, bodies reaffirming vows unspoken. Benjamin traced the compass, whispering, true north, but Derek's shadow lingered. 2 days later, mid-shoot on a sunrise patrol, Benjamin's phone died, low battery, but not before a buzz. Unknown caller, voicemail pending. The bass, charging, played, Derek's voice, slurred venom. Tell your convict boyfriend karma's coming. Tonight, panic surged. Benjamin raced to the shop, finding Samuel elbow-deep in a winch, grease-streaked and humming. Sam, listen. The voicemail looped, Derek's threat coiling tight. Samuel's face hardened, but not fear, resolve. He's bluffing. But we report it. Voss met them at the station, recording the message. This is gold. Harassment charges stick now. I'll have him picked up by evening. Relief washed, but unease clung. They crashed at Benjamin's condo. Safer. Locked down, pizza and Netflix a flimsy shield. Halfway through a dumb action flick, a crash shattered glass. Bedroom window shards glittering like malice. Inside, a brick, twine-wrapped note. Karma. Samuel lunged for it. Benjamin dialing 911. Voss arrived, sirens wailing. Dusting for prints, none. Bagging the brick. Derek's in custody, alibis shot. This screams him, but as patrol lights faded, Samuel paced, A caged wolf. I should have ended it years ago. Fought dirtier. Don't. Benjamin blocked him, hands on chest. That's what he wants. You back in the dark. Samuel's eyes blazed, then dimmed. What if I can't protect you? You already do. Benjamin pulled him down, kisses dousing the rage, bodies melding till fury burned to embers. Dawn interrogated them. Derek confessed. Jealousy. Booze. A spiral since hearing of Samuel's new boy via town gossip. Charges. Vandalism. Threats. Violation of parole terms for both. But Samuel's clear. Vas. Case solid. He'll do time. The mountain exhaled. Benjamin and Samuel emerged scarred but standing, their bond tempered steel. They celebrated quiet. A picnic on Independence Pass. Wildflowers nodding in breeze. Sandwiches and secrets shared. I love you, Benjamin said first. The words free-falling easy. Love you more. Samuel's grin. Sun on snow. But humanism whispered caveats. Weeks later, Benjamin's Denver life called. Gigs stacking. Mia's wedding looming. Visit, Samuel urged. But distance loomed. A new storm. Packing. Benjamin found the brick note in evidence return. Voss's gift? No. A reminder. He burned it in the cabin hearth. Ashes scattering like old skins. At the airport, goodbye was a tear-streaked kiss. Samuel's whisper. Come back. We're unfinished. On the flight, Benjamin scrolled photos. Their lift rescue. Hot springs steam. Ellie grins. Love wasn't flawless. It betrayed, threatened, broke. But rebuilt, it endured. Humanistic in its flaws. Romantic in redemption. Denver welcomed gray, but Benjamin's heart stayed snowbound. Texts flew daily. Miss your carve. Miss your chaos. A month in, he booked return Thanksgiving. Full circle. The slopes called. But home? That was Samuel's arms. Compass true. Yet as wheels touched down, a final twist. Mia's text. Mom's coming around. Saw your shots, proud. Family thaw. Full circle indeed. Thanksgiving dawned brittle. Aspen's valleys cloaked in hoarfrost that glittered like shattered diamonds under a reluctant sun. Benjamin's flight had landed late, turbulence mirroring the churn in his gut. But Samuel waited at arrivals. Sign scrawled Harper. My north. Hazel eyes crinkling with that grin that unraveled him every time. No words needed. The hug was airport scandalous. Arms crushing. Lips brushing in promise. Missed you, Samuel murmured into his neck. Voice rough as corduroy snow. Missed this. Benjamin inhaled him. Cedar. Faint diesel. Home. The drive to the cabin was a blur of catch-up. Denver drama, a client stiffing him on pay. Samuel's triumphs, promoted to lead mechanic. Derek shipped to county lockup pending trial. Laughter bridged the gap, but under it hummed the real talk, saved for flannel sheets and firelight. The cabin welcomed unchanged. Quilts aired. Table set with turkey thawing. Samuel's attempt at tradition, roped from YouTube. They cooked side by side, elbows bumping, wine loosening tongues. Mom called. Benjamin confessed over stuffing mix. Said, she's trying. Invited me to Christmas. With a +1, if I want. Samuel's knife paused on carrots. That's huge. Yeah. Benjamin stirred gravy, steam veiling doubt. But Denver's pulling. Gigs. Roots. You. Aspen's your blood. Samuel set the knife down, turning him gentle. And you're my pulse. We figure it, commute, relocate. Hell, Denver's got mountains nearby. The possibility bloomed, tentative as spring thaw. Dinner unfolded feast-like. Bird carved uneven, pie store-bought but loved. They ate slow, toasts to survival, the lift, the lies, the love that outlasted storms. Post-meal, sprawled on the rug, Samuel's head in lap, Benjamin combed fingers through dark curls. Remember that first night? Thought I was done for. Thought I was hallucinating an angel on a chair. Samuel chuckled, twisting to meet his eyes. Best wrong turn ever. Laughter faded to quiet, hands wandering familiar paths. They made love lazy, exploratory, Samuel mapping freckles like constellations, Benjamin whispering devotions against collarbone. Climax crested soft, waves not tsunamis, leaving them adrift in afterglow. But midnight brought the call Voss, voice edged urgency. Kane, Harper, Derek made bail. Conditions: no contact, but watch yourselves. He's unraveling. The line went dead, cabin plunging colder than the night. Samuel bolted up, pulling on jeans. I'll check the perimeter. Sam. No. Benjamin grabbed his arm, fear acrid. Let cops handle. Can't risk you. Samuel's jaw set stubborn, but his hand trembled. They compromised. Samuel boarding windows. Benjamin on phone with Voss, patrol dispatched. But Derek's address unknown, slippery as ice. Dawn crept anxious, them dozing fitful, ears tuned to every rustle. By noon, patrol cleared, no sign. Relief, temporary. They hit the slopes for distraction, easy blues, carving gentle, but eyes scanned crowds for beanies, lanky shadows. Evening found them at the Red Antler, booth their fortress, wings untouched. This ends tonight, Samuel declared. Phone to ear, lawyer on speed dial, pushing for Derek's revocation. Benjamin nodded, but his hand under the table squeezed Samuel's knee. Anchor. The brick through the truck window came at 10 p.m., parked outside, glass shattering like hope. Note taped, last warning. Leave him. Samuel's roar shook the bar, patrons scattering as he lunged out, Benjamin hauling him back. Don't give him this. Voss arrived. Scene taped, but the damage etched, trust's fragile rebuild, cracked again. Back at cabin, fortified now, doors triple locked, they collapsed, Samuel's head in hands. I'm poison, Ben. Run while you can. Never. Benjamin knelt, framing his face. We're stronger than his bullshit. Human, flawed, but fighting. Samuel's sob broke free. They held each other through night, tears salting skin, love a bulwark. Morning breakthrough. Derek's PO tipped Voss, holed up in a motel off 82, drunk and ranting. SWAT rolled quiet, cuffs clicking final. Interrogation spilled. Obsession, not justice, Derek's spiral since Samuel's betrayal. Booze fueling fantasies of reclamation. Charges stacked. Stalking. Assault pending. Bail revoked. He's done, Voss reported, tone almost kind. You too? Free. The mountain sang it. Clear skies, powder pristine. Benjamin and Samuel hit the lift, the same one. Chair swaying gentle now, ascending to untouched bliss. At summit, they carved tandem, whoops echoing, Snow spraying like confetti. Base lodge. Cocoa steaming. Benjamin pulled an envelope from his pack. Read it. Samuel unfolded. Elise. Denver loft. Mountain views. What? Us. There. My gigs. Your remote consults. Resorts got connections. Benjamin's grin trembled. Build from solid ground. Samuel's eyes welled, pulling him close. Yes. God. Yes. Months blurred to seasons. Denver spring. Them unpacking boxes amid laughter. Samuel wrenching at a garage gig. Benjamin's photos gracing galleries. Lifts and lovers. Lifts and lives. Mia's wedding. Samuel in tux. Best man. Dancing with mom who whispered. He's good for you. Summer hikes. Fall foliage runs. Love deepened. Roots entwining. Betrayals? Scars? Not shackles. Climaxes crested in quiet ways. Samuel's proposal on that lift. Ring simple silver. Compass engraved. Marry me? Wrong turns and all. Yes, Benjamin breathed. Kiss sealing eternity. Tragedy threaded. Derek's suicide note. Months later. Apology scrawled. Sorry I broke us all. Grief visited. Therapy holding space. But it humanized no villains. Only wounded souls seeking light. Their wedding. Aspen summer. Peaks witnesses. Vows vowing resilience. In storms and sun, Samuel said. Ring sliding home. In every turn, Benjamin echoed. Years on. Kids adopted, 2 boys. Wild as snow bunnies. Their story bedtime lore. Daddy Ben and Papa Sam. Saved by a blizzard. Humanistic end. Not flawless fairy tale, but earned grace. Love. American as apple pie and open roads. Dramatic falls. Romantic rises. Emotional truths. From a wrong turn. A life carved true. And high above. That lift hummed eternal. Chairs ascending to whatever came next.